Hey everybody, my name is David Lotherington and this is Elise, and today we're going to
Hello.
be doing some channeling. We have an individual who's coming forward named Cal. From what I know about Cal is he's an interdimensional being and he's very interested in sharing with others different perspectives and things from his perspective. Now, from what I know about him, or what I have been told, is that he's a seventh dimensional being, and he sees very abstract concepts that humanity might not be able to see from their perspective. And for this reason, he's coming forward to help with understanding of some things that we're experiencing in our everyday life. So, is there anything that you'd like to add, Elise?
Well, just to give a little tiny intro about who I am a former photographer, filmmaker, actress. Um, that really was I've been called to understand the unknown more and all of metaphysical experiences, channeling, psychic abilities. Always have been interested in it. And as of the last 3 years, I've just been really diving deep into what this is and seeking out information and really diving into myself more. So this is just like my number one priority right now.
So she is the perfect person to ask questions, is the point. And from my perspective, because there's so many people that are at this blossoming point, they are just they're ready to become initiates, or they're already initiated in the progress of their advancement as far as their development goes. And this is the perfect time to give these type of questions, which I believe that you're perfectly capable of asking.
Thank
So for the audience, I just want to explain a little bit of what channeling is. Now, channeling Cal is different from channeling another being for me, because Cal is an aspect of me, or my higher self, from what I understand. Last night, when I was talking to Cal, he mentioned that he is, if you imagine us as a plant, he is the stem, and I would be the branches that lead to the leaves. Now, there's someone above him, which would be the roots of our consciousness, and there's someone below me who would be the leaf of the plant. So
you.
that's
Wow,
how he described it to me.
that's
And I thought
beautiful.
that was kind of cool, actually. So the roots, what he's saying now is the roots represent the closest connection to the energetic source, which is source in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And the further that you get from the roots, the farther that you get from this absorption energy, except in the case of the leaf.
Mm-hmm.
They are also able to absorb in different ways, but the experience is different, he's saying so. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring forward Cal, and we're going to begin the questioning process.
Okay,
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Greetings, and we are here to express ourselves to you.
Hello, Carl. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. It is always a pleasure to be in the presence of those who are curious.
It's pretty wonderful to see how quickly you can come through David without any resistance or hesitation.
Yes, there are many people who present boundaries in their life, and these boundaries prevent them from accessing such layers of experience. Now, the more layers that you have that are present between you and someone else, the more difficulty there can be when interpreting such energies, especially in the place of channeling.
So what is the I love the analogy you gave, David, about the branches and the root and the leaves. If so, to understand more, we are all connected to each other's higher selves, and they're all in different incarnations, in different dimensions.
Yes.
But you're sharing the same. What would you call that? An oversoul?
Well, there are many terms that humans use to address such nature. I apologize, the channel has some gas from a previous meal. Now we would state that many concepts have been portrayed through the human collective consciousness regarding this oversoul, and this meta soul is probably what we would refer it as for future use. Now this meta soul is, it is like an omniverse, if you wish to look at it like that, from the Marvel universe, a multiverse. This is what we wish to call it. Now, this meta soul is a conglomeration of all the energies that you extend further from yourself, and they all gather at one central point eventually. Now, there are many filters that prevent it from moving from one layer to another. And in these layers, there is a difference in experience, which one will portray in this individual layer. So as one moves through these filters, one is able to do more, access more, be more, and know more as well.
Okay, so you are in which dimension?
As the channel referred earlier, we are from the 7th dimension. Now, we are saying such things as a concept, as there are many dimensions, there are many layers and realms as well. Now, from our perspective, we refer to the 9th dimension as the ultimate dimension. This is the prime creator's realm and layer, at which he or it, whichever form you perceive as God, exists. Now, below this layer is a layer of consciousness, which is very grand and above our station in position as far as souls remain and are regarded. So we would state that from the 7th dimension, we see much, but there is much that we do not see still. So for this reason, we are not fully able to give all of the stories of that which has been done in creation, but we can give a great story from time to time.
I bet. I'm sure you've given a lot of them. What is the access? So if in the 7th, to our perspective, how you said, if you're in the 7th, the access to information you have is a lot greater, for sure, than David. So what is your goal in life? Like if our goal is to continue up the spiral and yours is too, what is it that you aspire to? What is it that excites you in your spirit? And how does it manifest for you?
This is a very great question. Now, we are a collective of energies. All of those who are above the 1st dimension are a collective of energies, and this may change the concept of how you perceive reality, not just for yourself, but also for the viewers of the program. Now, above the 1st density, there are souls. And although there are souls in the 1st density, these souls unite in higher densities. And as one moves forward in density, one is able to incorporate further aspects of one's soul and into one singular body. And for example's purpose, we would say perhaps 40 individuals in the 3rd density may create one individual in the 4th density. So these, although this is a very complex topic, it requires much understanding. Each dimension, just to jump forward slightly, each dimension has octaves. And these octaves, which are perceived as dimensions, they are experienced differently by people of different perspectives. And in their energetic format, they have other questions that they must answer in these lives.
So which octave of the 7th dimension are you in?
We are in the 7th of the 7th dimension.
Okay. Do you know which octave I'm in?
We are curious, are you referring to your third density aspect or your highest aspect?
Ooh, both.
Well, we would need to scan you in order to find such answers.
Okay. So my question is how, okay, because you're coming through and it's such a almost like unbelievable experience for us to communicate in this way now. We have this tendency, or at least I do, to think that because you're coming through David, then you must know everything and you have access to everything that I am and everything that's happened to me and everything that will happen to me. And so to clarify, how much access does a being like you have to someone like me?
As much as you allow us.
And how does the allowing process work?
Well, it happens in the subtle layers of your what you know as experience. There are many formats of energies that give permission on different layers. And in these layers, they are able to accept or deny any request that is presented through these other experiences. As you move forward in your knowing and development of that which is what you are able to access points within this experience and knowing. Now, this is a complex answer to a complex question.
Mm-hmm.
But we would say that there are many things that we are not able to explain due to the linear process and limitation of time, as there is only a set amount of time that one is able to communicate through such a way in the channeling format at this time. But it is not to say that one cannot communicate further in subsequent discussions, and perhaps we can focus on such things in later conversation.
Okay, I love it. Thank you for answering so clearly as you can within my understanding of dimensions and time.
Yes.
All right. So, what is your connection to David as a higher self aspect of him?
What is our connection to him? He is us.
Okay.
So this is an oversimplification, of course, but he is a fragmented format of our experience. Now, knowing this, he is a fragment of many beings, as you are, as all humans are. They are a fragmented format of that of a higher dimensional being. And as you fracture yourself further and further, you experience more stations of limitation. And as you move up through the dimensions and the densities and the layers of experience, you have less limitation.
So you would say that I know that time, it does not exist. It's just a construct within our experience in the third dimension. But so speaking linearly for those who are watching this video, one could say that David was your past self in the third dimension of Earth as a human.
Now, this is a very linear way to think of things.
I know.
We understand we are not saying this to insult. We are merely saying that this question cannot be addressed in such a way that one can properly answer it as it is in not proper composition. So in order to understand the answer to the question, which we would seek to interpret as best we can, we would state that all things occur at the same time.
Right.
Now, one does not have past and present, but merely now. And in this experience, we are David as we are Cal. And for this very reason, there is a loop that is created between ourselves, our collective, and that which is known as David.
How many beings, souls, or cells comprised who Cal is?
Well, if we understand this linear thing again, but if one was to give it a number, one would say approximately 146,000 souls would combine to make what is Cal.
Wow. And are there any more on the earth living right now in their bodies on the third dimension that also comprise who Cal is?
Yes,
How many?
146,000. Now they may not be,
146,000 humans embodied comprise the soul that is Cal.
we would say they are not all on planet Earth, but
Okay.
there are 146, we are rounding, but individuals which are of the experience of the seventh density being known as Cal.
Okay. And are a lot of them on the third, or is that even a question?
It is a question, yes, but we would say that these incarnations exist from the first to the seventh, we would say the 6.9 density. So they are a branch of experience that range from the first to the 6.9th round or
Okay.
density. Now, because of this, anything that is below that which is 7.7 is different and separate. We are struggling to speak, it seems. Below 7.7th density, we are struggling because there is a threshold at 7, one must understand. And that which is from 7 to 7.7 is similar to itself and is unique in that way, as third density is unique in its own way, as you are living your life and you do not jump between your fractal components. You remain Elise. You do not become Barbara. You do not become Janet or Thomas. You are who you are, and you do not bounce around while in this layer. As we do not bounce around while we are within the seventh dimensional range. We hope this has addressed some format of your question.
Yes, it does. It's complex, but I understand you're stretching it as much as you can.
Yes.
So what is a regular, do you have days in your experience, or do you have a physical body?
We do not have a physical format. And the channel was asking us such a question before. What would we look like if we did have a physical format? And we stated something along the lines of we would look like a beautiful sovereign being with glowing skin, something similar to your elf race. Beyond the measures of human beauty would be the expression of what we would present to you. And in such a way, our reflection, or perhaps our auric field, would be presented to you as some radiant being of light. You would only see us as an angel, probably, or perhaps as many of you see Arcturians, this blue glow, perhaps golden or white in color.
And that's only if you had a body, but you don't.
That is
So
correct.
you exist as it's so interesting because as 3D, the only I can only explain it with 3D concepts, but like a floating consciousness that is self-realized, comprised of 147,000 souls that have also self-realized themselves as you.
Well, 146,000. But
46.
we would state that we are self-realized, but we are also slightly limited as we are not from the 8th dimension.
Okay.
We are not from the 9th.
What is the 8th? What happens to, like, so you're striving to evolve into the 8th. What does that look like for you? What does it mean to evolve to the 8th for you?
This is an excellent question. For us, the perspective of the 8th dimension is that which you see as what is heaven. It is the layer closest to God itself, if you wish to use such terminologies, or the creator of all. Now, we would say this light, which is emitted from the 8th density, is radiant even to us. If a human was to see it, well, they would not be able to see it actually, because their minds would not register such a vibration as it is too high. But even those in the highest understanding of the fifth density, which humans are not partaking in, although they may have soul aspects from such layers, they are just beginning to see the shine from the seventh and the eighth layers, perhaps. Now, to us, the eighth layer is that of love, compassion, and expression. It is expansion. It is experience incarnate. It is all that you wish to desire, to be, to do, and to act, as it is a complete format of many souls united at one front.
Wow. Sounds lovely.
Yes, and in a way it is a unification of all that have experienced all of the experiences that they have experienced. So it is of a knowing. We expressed earlier that we are 146,000 souls. And what we really mean by that is we have the cumulative knowledge of 146,000 souls, which exist in the sixth density. And if one comes, just to make this a linear understanding, if one is to have 50,000 souls, if you are in the sixth density, and perhaps you have 25,000 souls in the fifth density, and perhaps you have 12.5 thousand souls in the fourth density. Do you understand the trend that we are showing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One is able to experience a full life within one experience of one soul. So you are Elise, you experience many things in your life. We have experienced this 146,000 times of different lives that you may have lived. But
I see. That's what makes you, so does a group, the amount of self-realized souls in their individual experience comprise the wisdom and evolution of Cal? So basically what helps Cal evolve as one being, but it's not one being. It's all those souls together. It's all their individual understandings.
Yes, you're correct. And just to place into perspective, if you choose to, we would choose the first density, as this is the most basic of densities, that one experience in the first density is equivalent to one life worth of experience. In the third density, one may have 40 aspects within this body, as perhaps second density contains 10 souls, and third density contains approximately 40 souls. Now, if you take all of that, and an individual in the fifth density has a large amount of souls within that individual body. And so they are only limited by the experience that they have claimed before this understanding. Now, we understand that this is very complex and it is difficult to describe, but we are doing what we can to make it in a linear format so one can understand that 146,000 may actually be equivalent to 60 trillion souls worth of experience, as the souls, we do not want to say value, but the inherent ability of the soul to interpret experiences changes as you move up into dimensions.
So like it's accumulative, all their experiences, they're shared. It's like shared wisdom. It becomes like a bigger piece of wisdom.
Yes.
I know I experienced something, you experienced something else. We shared it telepathically, energetically, soul-wise. We shared our information. Therefore, we're both wise with each other's information.
Yes.
And so if you're not in a body experiencing this, where are you? Are you in on a planet?
We would say we are present.
You are present. It's like floating around in the universe?
Essentially, yes. We are not actually in a universe, even.
Okay. That is so complex because for us, the universe, the 3D universe that we can see is so vast. So, what is that 3D universe?
Well, if you wish to understand the concept of what is a universe, one must understand what is the concept of consciousness. And a universe is merely like a cloud of consciousness.
Oh, okay. Even our physical 3D universe could be said to be a cloud of consciousness.
It is.
Is there a reason? Well, so complex. Why does everything look like the way it does? And why does it change form? It's like, who decided upon all of that? I think we are deciding it as we go.
You are, yes. And we are as well. And there are many different formats of energy that one can take. Now, this energy, which is designed by the great grand creator, or that which is prime source, initially, but those with creative ability have the ability to change and alter, modify their energetic format or holographic form, if you wish to refer to this terminology.
Which you can do.
Yes.
So you could physically show up to David or any of us.
We are not referring to this. We would say we can create a race out of our consciousness just by thinking of a specific race.
Because you've evolved long enough, you're advanced enough in the experience of existence that you could create your own race.
Yes, we understand that you are thinking of us as a species that can create life in the physical way. But we would say that we can create a race in one instant that did not exist before, as we can create a galaxy that did not exist before.
And what is your incentive to do so?
It is merely an ability to give a lower dimensional experiences more experience. So we wanted to, if we choose a game for point of reference, perhaps StarCraft, they have 3 species, one which is Terran, one which is Zerg, and one which is Protoss. Now, there are many gamers that may like these terminologies as they are very interesting races with backstories, but we do not know if you are familiar with such races.
I don't, but that's all right. I understand where you're going with it.
Very well. The concept is that one can create a race purely designed to experience that which that race will experience. And if we, or I, if you wish to call us such things, wish to take part in that experience that it is to be a Zerg, then I can do such a thing to create a reality so I can have this experience for myself.
Okay. Are there any dark or negative aspects to your existence?
Yes, there are many.
Like?
Well, to explain such things, it may not make sense to you, as many of these energies are higher and lower than your understanding of concept of that which is good and that which is bad.
Okay. Yeah, I guess it is one-dimensional for us, or two-dimensional. It's just one or the other. But isn't everything, isn't existing about understanding you're one and not the other? Or that you're both?
It is to understand that you are the balance that exists between the two experiences.
Creation and destruction.
Light and dark, or creation and destruction. Yes, love and fear. You are the balance that remains between the two forces. And in this balance, you find your harmony.
So you don't experience death.
Not at this point of experience, no.
So no time, no death. What is it that you look forward to? What is it that you are excited about?
Well, like you, we experience many lessons. We have things to overcome, lessons to learn. And because of these lessons, we grow. It is most important that experience is experienced, and one should not limit one's experience to a minimal amount of experiences. As such, experience, we are using this word a lot. We realize we should probably use another word, but we will not.
I understand what you're saying.
This experience will allow you to grow. So make sure and ensure that you have the maximum amount of such a thing. And we wish to say this one thing. Sometimes not having a lot of experience is an experience in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So this may be something that one may seek to achieve. So do not think, I am sitting in a basement, I am not accomplishing anything. How is this an experience? It is the experience of not experiencing.
Mm-hmm. So what matters is what is making you realize about yourself in the triggers and in the release of those triggers. That is in itself why you're experiencing it.
Yes, and it truly becomes know thyself. Know why you experience such things in the way that you do. And why do you interpret such energies the way that you, we apologize, in the way that you do.
So what is it that you're struggling with at the present moment?
We are overcoming fear in different ways. Now, there are many perspectives of fear and interpretations of that energy which exists within all. And there are many emotions that do not exist on planet Earth that we experience. But
Really?
yes,
Could you describe one as best as possible?
yes, we can if you wish. There is an emotion which is of the negative spectrum that allows us to become lost in ourself. Now, this loss in ourself, as we are almost omnipotent in our nature, we can become lost in our own creation. And as we are creating things, we can get lost in doing what we believe is good. And perhaps it is good. But if we get caught up in such things of creation of what we believe is good, we can lose sight of ourselves and how we need to develop ourselves. So this is not something that we have terminology for in the third density experience, but this is something that we must overcome.
Is that something that you personally are struggling with?
Yes.
Thank you for your honesty.
You're welcome.
Do you experience, so I guess because you don't have any physical body, you don't necessarily have romantic relationships and connections?
Well, in higher layers, love is somewhat different from what you experience. Now, love for you, not you individually, but we would refer to that which is human experience of love, is a knowing that one belongs with another. It is that true heart-centered balance which you are experiencing. It is the connection between two individuals, or sometimes more, that you are experiencing that allow one another to complement each other, to create a form of balance or harmony within the two individuals, bringing a complete cycle to its end. Now, for us, we understand that many of the humans do not know what the definition of love is, and perhaps for many this will be an interesting terminology. and that many people will look at life differently, perhaps with this perspective, and we hope that it does, as this will bring change to your collective consciousness with an expanded understanding of that which is love. Now, to address how we experience love, it is not of the physical nature or the nature of the orgasm. This is not required. But it is, if you imagine a zipper, and we do not have the terminology for the piece that sticks out of the zipper to connect with the other piece, but we will call it a prong for now. Each prong of the left side of the zipper is an experience. And each prong of the right part of the zipper is an experience. When we find that which is complementary to ourself, complementary to our zipper, and we zip up the zipper, we find completion. This completion or harmony, which we are referring to in your level, is love from our experience.
Wow. So I'm sure you understand that we are experiencing this so-called ascension process on Earth.
Yes.
And everybody's talking about it and everybody has different ideas. And it seems like now more than ever, we are able to communicate with higher dimensional connections like you and many other races and dimensional selves. What is it that you, how do you perceive what is happening here, and what is your best advice for us as one of yourselves or many of yourselves are here experiencing it, this transition?
We would state that as humanity dips into the higher aspects of themselves, whether it be fourth, fifth, sixth, or perhaps seventh density, they will become more able to access such layers of experience. And in doing so, as they're able to access them, they will be able to, some will be able to return with such information from such layers. And then if they are able to do such a thing, then they will be able to help and guide and transcend the ability and knowledge of the human collective that much further. So as we are observing your timeline, as you would perceive it, we would see humans growing, albeit slowly. You may see it as rapid, but for us, without understanding of how we live our lives, it is a trickling pace. Now, this is not to say that humans are developing slowly. No, this is not the case. But from our perspective, it is. But from your perspective, you are accelerating at a very great rate. So we see you as you grow on your snail's pace from our perspective. But you are growing in a positive direction in this reality which you are taking part in.
So you feel like we have a chance. We're not gonna blow ourselves up. The lost race.
Well, this would be another experience which some of you will wish to take part in, and some of you will not. So for those of you who wish to take part in such things, whether it be through subconscious mind processing or perhaps through secret dwellings which you may have within yourself that you just want the world to end and fuck it all. I apologize for the terminology. But there are those of you who wish to have more light, more free energy, more ability to access information at a faster rate, more connection with those that are not upon the planet and other species. They will experience such environmental factors as well, because this is what they are manifesting.
All right. So what is it? So for example, I have a very strong interest in communicating with my higher selves. And I haven't been able to fully open the channel. Um, that's the best way to say it. But so, what is the best way for anyone who is in my shoes uh, to open their channel and to start communicating? And what are the best protection protocols from higher dimensional, but not so positive energies?
We understand, and these are very practical, excellent questions. Regarding protection, this is the most important thing that one must establish before entering the phase of becoming a channel. It is most important that you protect yourselves from those that do not seek your greatest good, that you protect yourself from those which are bothered by the advancement of others, which from our perspective is very menial, very diminutive and low in mindset. But there are many who exist upon your planet who are experiencing such things. So, as you set the parameters of what you seek is okay to do while channeling, set the parameters that when you are manifesting things, that only manifest those which seek to help you in your life, not essentially to give to you, but only those which seek to complement your service. Seek those who have greatest intent of your physicality, and also those who will, we are searching for the term, seek to help you in your expansion of your creativity. Now, the channel may have a different version of these advices that we are giving to you, as his perspective is that of a third density understanding, and that is all that is possible, and unless he is experiencing knowledge from our density or other densities, which he does have some access to. So, because of this, he may have a more grounded understanding of how to help you in this channeling format and the guidelines of protection that one must have, as he is within this layer of experience and knows and has been through such things. So, addressing your second question, this has to do with how does one become a channel and how can I channel my higher selves? We would say that in order to do such a thing, one must know that there is no difference in your higher selves and your now self. The more layers of conditioning that you have, that you are experiencing forms of limitation, should be removed. Find yourself in a position of understanding that yourself is good and evil, that you are high and you are low, and to shun the other from whatever you are is your fault. This is something that one can only blame on oneself when looking for such a thing. If you remain in balance, you can move through the densities. Understand you are black and you are white, and you are the gray that exists within. As a Theta Tata, you are the triangle that the bar in between represents. You are the balancing point. If you can find the balance which exists between left and right, then you can find your pathway through the fog of your experience, and you can find yourself into higher dimensional realities and pull information back through these layers if you see that it is possible for you to do.
I love that. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
In the end, it's all about your individual understanding of energy, your own energy, and how you affect others, how others affect you. So in protection, I always wonder about this as I do my research and talk to channelers and listen to what they're saying. Did you communicate with, because if you can communicate with us, I'm guessing you can communicate with just anyone in the universe. So are you, I'm guessing you're aware of those who are right now, quote unquote, guiding us, like who we call Jesus or the Galactic Federation of Light, or the many other beings who are coming through, different races who are just clearly like being channeled on Earth right now during this transition. Is there more, are the people or the beings who are mostly coming through to help actually coming through to help? Or do they have hidden agendas?
Well, hidden agenda is a term that we do not wish to use. It is like using the word terrorist because
It's general.
it's too general for our use.
I agree.
So we would not wish to use such a term. But there are those who is good for you, and there are those who are bad for you. And there are those who perceive themselves to be good but are bad, and those who are bad perceive themselves to be bad that are good. And it is for you to discover which is which.
What is the, is intention to protect yourself? Is intention enough? If I sit here and I'm connecting to myself and I'm meditating, I want to open my channel. Is intention to protect myself enough to just say like what my intentions are to connect and who is allowed in and who is not?
Now, we would say this is a complex answer, and such a complex answer has complex nuances within it. If one wishes to set the intention to keep one safe in the astral layers, we will say that you will keep yourself safe from things in the astral layers. But there are many layers, and some of them are physical layers, which you are experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And things in the physical layer can still affect you. Things of the energetic layer, which is similar vibration to that which you call electricity, is still able to find its way through to you. So, in order to protect oneself from everything, which we do not recommend, as there are many people which will use this information to shield themselves from the world itself.
And not experience anything at all.
Yes. But we would say, in order to shield yourself from electricity, you need something which can reflect that which is powerful enough to reflect electricity. Perhaps a metal like copper or another mineral. Now, if one wishes to protect themselves from that which is astral, one might seek to use their team, their guides, their dragons, their beings of higher ability in astral form and higher vibrational components to protect them from such things. Now, in the physical layer, perhaps a lead shield would protect you best from anything of physicality. So, in the same way, it is a complex answer as it is a complex question, because there are many layers of energy which are interpreted upon planet Earth at this time, and each of such layers are required to protect oneself from, if one believes one needs to be protected.
Exactly. But you do believe it yourself.
We believe that what we interpret happens for a reason. And because we know this, we are able to transmute such dark energies into light, which is our purpose. And deflecting such energies only tends to create blockages within the human energetic system. So we do not block such things. We only set the intention to attract that which serves our greatest good.
Okay. Do you set, is it like a constant intention setting? So for me, I experience my life in days, right? I wake up, I start my day in my conscious self. Is that an intention that I should set every morning? This is my intention for today, is to only manifest and attract what is good, what is for me, for my highest good.
It is good and healthy in the third density to do such a thing, as the human mind often becomes distracted in things such as politics, pandemics, and things of this nature. So, if your intention is not upon the task at hand, then the task at hand can go unfulfilled in its role. So, constant reinforcement and mantras have been created for humanity to help them with this progression. If one was in the knowing that they can say it once and it will be done, and they had a subconscious mind which was able to process the knowing that they are safe and secure, and they only attract that which serves the greatest good, then they would only be required to say it once.
I understand. It is about not being distracted.
Yes.
That part of spiritual sovereignty, the knowing.
If you wish to imagine the Tita Tata as we explained before, it is not easy to stand in the middle of the Tita Tata. It requires focus. It requires balance and equilibrium. And if one is able to maintain such equilibrium within themselves, then they are able to find the finest tuning of balance. And in such balance, you will find unity and many different experiences.
Okay, I understand.
Good.
I'm trying to think about what else I want to know from you, Cal. So right now, how many beings or souls in your dimension are talking to me through what I'm perceiving is only one being?
Are you referring to ourselves?
Yes.
Well, we are all referring to you, all 146,000 of us.
Oh, okay. Even those who are not necessarily conscious of the communication.
Yes.
Because you are drawing from all of the selves and consciousnesses, minds and self-realizations of all of them. They all comprise you.
That is correct.
What determines you as Cal? Like, you know, like what is the difference between you and the 146,000 souls that comprise you versus like what I'm a part of? And why?
Well, this is a good question. We are the 146,000 are Cal, and that is what is known as Cal. And that which you are comprised of is that of your own creation. And that understanding of what you are in the higher layers is what that name is to be.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps you are a part of Cal. Who knows?
Interesting. That's exciting. How could I find out?
You must do some self-growth to help yourself to understand, who am I? As Jesus said, who are we? But the most important question is, at least from our perspective, is to find oneself. Now, this is not a question, but we understand that it is the most important thing to achieve.
It's why we're here.
It is why we are here, to have experience and to find out who you truly are.
Now, have you experienced what you call your creator, our creator? Glimpses of it?
We have experienced that which you may refer to as prime source or prime creator only through, if one imagines yourself standing on the planet, there is the clouds which exist above you. This would be similar to our perception of the eighth density. And the sun itself would be that which is source, prime source. So it is always present in our life, day in and day out, but sometimes it is obstructed by the clouds. And the clouds prevent us from seeing it, although we know it still remains. It is only a temporary thing to be hidden. We know it exists at all times. We have a knowing, but sometimes we cannot see it through the clouds of life. And in this clouding, we can become lost. And at times, these clouds become fog. And they drop themselves down to our experience. Not to say eighth dimensionals drop down to seventh, which they do. But, and that is a negative thing, we are saying that sometimes we are obstructed by things that are apparent right in front of us, but we need only to move to a higher perspective to overcome such boundaries.
So we are all essentially experiencing the exact same thing over and over through every dimension.
Not the exact same, because this would become redundant to the soul, but very near to the same.
Different versions of the same, or different emotions too, but the similar aspects of understanding ourselves as the oneness in a dark room versus dark, only dark.
Yes, you are experiencing, the experience of God is to experience one's hand touching its face, and we are startled by such an energy. We apologize. There was a disruption and the channel's body reacted.
That's all right.
We are lost track of our question. Yes, the experience of that which is God. Perhaps this was interrupted intentionally. We are receiving messages from above. Perhaps it is. It is as if you take your hand in a dark room and put it on your face, and understanding that touching your face is creation itself.
Okay.
This may seem like a very abstract concept at this time.
I understand it.
Very good.
I hope everybody watching understands it too. It's, yeah. So it's not really true danger. Okay, so the concept of death, or the concept of going back to source, when I die, my soul goes back to source. Am I correct?
Your soul is already a part of source.
Well, I guess my perception of it, at least, what I'm allowed to perceive.
You will be able to perceive higher layers of your other experiences, and you will be able to choose which one you wish to take part in next if you do.
Okay. But does that mean that when I die, I am able to be in any dimension? Or does that mean that I've only done up to a certain point dimensionally, and I can only choose from what I'm allowed, like what I've already, the level of the game that I've already understood so far?
We would say yes. Now, what we mean by this simple yes is that you will experience what you believe you are limited in a higher version of yourself that you can experience. If your highest version sets the parameters that you must move your way through the game in order to reach your highest density until you reach completion at the end of the game, then you will experience such a thing. If you believe that there is a disruption coming towards the body. The dog has returned.
Okay.
We apologize for such a disruption.
All right.
He will shortly bark, we are sure. But we wish for you to continue with your question.
I'm trying to think about what the best understanding of this is. Because I have, we look forward to, we don't really, but now in our spiritual understanding, as we have evolved and we're evolving into this concept of ascension, we are understanding that death is returning to source. And
Perhaps it is best if now we return the channel.
we can do that, yes.
We would love to communicate with you again in the future and help such collective understandings, help the human consciousness grow as best we can. For now, we must let the dog back into the room, and we will address such questions through the channel in his conscious state.
Sounds good.
Very good. We will return the channel.
Thank you, Cal.
You are welcome, Elise.
Hello.
Hello. So.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Just one moment, okay?
Okay. I hear your puppy. Oh, wow. It's outside.
Okay. All right. So that was an interesting experience for me as well.
Okay.
Cal went a lot deeper than we normally go. So what is it like when I come out of channeling? Some people might be interested in hearing about that.
Yes, I am.
How long have we been recording for?
Like an hour. It's 11. It's 1:11 right now at night. So yeah.
Okay. I'm still a bit disoriented. What happens when I'm first coming on for the first couple seconds? How does it feel? It's like there's a rush of energy that comes, and I can feel a rush of energy leaving my body.
Mm-hmm.
And then when my body comes back online, I can begin to move my hands, my arms, and everything again. Because while I'm channeling, I can become stiff because they don't use that, or they have minimal allowance of usage of my appendages and body.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only because I say you can't use my body, usually.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a boundary that I still have to overcome as a channeler to be able to allow that to happen.
Okay.
Some beings can move my body, can open my eyes while I'm channeling, which is a freaky experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because when someone's using their eyes and their eyes are open, it's another sense, and you have to be able to take in that sense and also
process it,
and also focus and process it at the same time as you're channeling.
Wow.
So it's just more complex.
How do you feel your focus, like or your energy level when you go in versus right now?
Well, I feel great. I'm very relaxed. And
okay. Kind of like coming out of a meditation?
More energized than that, I would say.
Okay.
Because sometimes when you're coming out of a meditation, you can just be totally listless and you don't want to return. Now, when I come out of channeling, it's a different type of Cal's starting to speak again. When you notice my voice,
cool.
When you notice my voice change, he's here.
Okay.
So,
how do you differentiate from it? I mean, for you, like, how does it feel like?
I have set the parameter that he has a different voice when he comes through.
Okay.
So I can channel with my eyes open and know that I'm channeling.
Okay.
And you can hear in his inflection that he is speaking to you. Yeah. So we are both taking part in this component of the conversation at this time.
Okay. Wow. That's so cool.
So this is a lighter form of channeling if you wish to take it in this way. Yes.
When you converse with Cal as David, do you, like when you're having conversations, you sit in meditation and it's like a conversation in your head, or are you saying it out loud? Or are you writing it?
I'm going to take this one, Cal. So for me, it is just, I'm there speaking to you, but it is not me speaking the words. It's like
when you have a song playing and you don't know the lyrics, but you start singing words and words are coming out of your mouth and maybe they're part of the song, but maybe they're not. This is your higher self or your team, your guide speaking these words and assisting you with this. Your subconscious mind is putting things together to create what is the song, even though you might not be speaking the right lyrics. Now, the words that you are speaking, they're not the lyrics of the song necessarily. Sometimes they are because you know the song. But if you don't know the song, what you're saying is like channeling. So some people, I know that's difficult to understand, but it's like some parents, they don't know any lullabies for their children, yet they can come up with such creations from the heart. And
I understand.
Yes. So it's an expression of yourself through your heart.
He mentioned something about protection. And he said, like, protecting yourself from the astral or energetic protection, like from electricity and, you know, that kind of like intrusion. He mentioned copper. And I see that you're wearing a copper bracelet. Is this why?
No.
Okay.
I wear copper because I feel a strong connection to some minerals and alloys, and some I like more than others. For me, copper is, well, when copper is in an incomplete circle like this,
yes,
it creates a quantum field.
Okay. I'm going to go buy that right now. No, whatever it is that helps.
So that's just in copper's, how copper works. Like that's one of the things, one of the properties of copper. So
very cool.
It's just a simple minimalistic design for me, and it's a mineral that I resonate with. So
when we didn't go further into talking with him about that, but he did mention it. Like when I asked a general question about protection, he mentioned copper is good for kind of helping with electricity, negative electricity that is affecting you. And then, of course, your guides, asking for your guides to protect you from astral. And then he mentioned like a lead shield in the physical realm against anything coming your way, which I thought it was really funny because we don't use that anymore unless you're in battle, but I guess we could be in battle.
So one thing regarding electricity, and you said negative electricity. So electricity doesn't have, although it has polarity,
right?
It doesn't have a positive or negative nature to it. It is what it is.
Right.
And although this is a higher form of science, and Cal's just talking to me about it now, but one can change the polarity of the electricity to become something different.
Okay, so it could be either it could affect you negatively. It's not that it is negative, but it could affect you negatively because of where you are in your body or how much intake of it is.
Well, if you get electrocuted, you can die,
of course,
which would be negative, right? But what he's saying, actually, this is the kind of deeper point that I'm trying to dip into right now, is that he's talking about a branch of science in higher densities that exists that is essentially tampering with the polarity of electricity, which allows for the understanding that electricity can do more than just power devices. It can also power intent.
Wow. Okay.
Cool. So with that in mind, I think today was a success.
I think so too.
For all my newer viewers, thank you for subscribing. You guys are great. Last time I put out a video, I had like 190 people. Now I have, I don't know how many, 250 or something. So for me, that's a huge leap. I'm going to start taking interviews that I've done in the past and putting them on my YouTube channel. Now I hope that's not really new content, but it's relatively new. It's within the last several months. And that will give you guys something else to watch if you're interested in this sort of content.
We are.
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So with that in mind, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions for Cal, or if you'd like to see him again, please put that in the comments below. If you have any questions that you'd like Lise to ask in the future, if you want to message her, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Just leave
yeah, I'm Sofie Ocean. I am underneath it, you can find me.
Oh yes, so she has her own YouTube channel as well called Sofie Ocean. Is there any different way to spell that?
No, I guess it's with an F instead of PH.
Sofie.
Yeah, exactly.
Ocean. Okay. So that's her channel, and she's into photography, and she's an actress, or was an actress, and she does lots of cool things. So check her out on her channel. Okay. I guess that's it. See you guys later. Bye.